Sanje, Jodon, Zojin, Jono, Shanje, Barda, Dana, Chasans, Dage, Chishu, Jebe, Sonam, Dola, Benja, Sanjin, Reba, Jo, Sanje, Jodon, Zojin, Jono, Shanje, Barda, Dana, Chasans, Dage, Chishu, Jebe, Sonam, Dola, Benja, Sanjin, Reba, Sanje, Jedon, Zoji, Jonola, Shanje, Bada, Dana, Chapsa. Dage, Chishe, Jebe, Sonam, Dola, Pincha, Sanje, Drabo, Shu. Good evening again.
Evening, Islam.
You guys finish your dinner? Finish your dinner, finish your lunch, finish breakfast. Have some tea, coffee with you. Yeah, it's so good. It's wonderful to, again, the worst time, like pandemic time. But, we didn't, like give up, skip for any hour, daily Dharma, activities. It's wonderful. And also you guys also pretty good to attend. Therefore, Dharma is really, if we know how to put into practice, Dharma is really, help when we have, pandemic or difficult time. And therefore, like Dharma is, basically Dharma is, the medicine is the how to recover for our body any kind of disease. The Dharma is the medicine for the how to heal for our mental issues. Therefore, if we able to put into practice, it will really, really, really work. Then sometimes if we don't know how to put into practice, then it's a little bit also sometimes too more, stressful, Therefore, basically, it's very important to, if you understand Dharma or you not understand Dharma or you practice or not, try to keep our mind to peace as much as we can. Then we say, how can I do that? I have so many difficult times. I have so many things, problems going on. At the moment, those times, His Holiness always said, if it is fixable, the worry doesn't fix, then try to not worry. If not fixable, also nothing, the worry doesn't fix. Like think it that way. Then also, always we mention, a lot of things we worry. Some things not, belongs to us, or we're not able to do that. We just worry about that. Main things, what we have right now, to recognize and to see the quality, we are so lucky because it keeps your mind more positive, way, okay? Then, we already finished for Heart Sutra, and maybe I'm sure you already forgot. Right? Everyone forgot, or you still keep your practice. If we're able to, keep like couple times a week, then it becomes stay. Otherwise, we just forgot. We just forgot. This is like nature, but it's put very good influence. And therefore, if we really, like that. Therefore, if we able to meditation for the emptiness, it's the root, source to cut our delusion. Therefore, very powerful. If we able to meditation like very perfect or very how you call it properly, then it is like a really source to cut for our delusions. Then we have another way, we also to purify our negative karma, like 35 Buddhas to practice and meditation. Right now we're going that. Okay, and now I'm not talking too much. Which Buddha today? Remember?
Water God.
Oh, what number? Remember?
15.
15. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, always, this is hard to do this. We have 4 empowerment powers, right? 4 empowerment. This is very important. Yeah. 당연히 아니 동샤기 냠랜데 아니 또 아니 디파 녀바샤야기 또 비슷한데 냠랜데 차대요래.
So this practice of the 35 Buddha confession, downfall confession, is the practice of purification done with the 4 opponent powers.
제장아 아니 당보 땡기답들 땡기답대 다 잠로다 셈게들이.
So the first one is the power of basis, and that is refuge and bodhicitta.
제장 아니 나라서 그 수수 저지 수수 셈기야 잠로다 셈게들이다.
So it is the refuge and bodhicitta within our one continuum.
아니 딘데기 잠로 셈게대 야보용을 아니 수수 아니 지금 조카 아니 수수 구성투진 늘려야 삼마다와이나 데스팽그리.
And in order to have this proper refuge and bodhicitta in our mind stream, it would be good to do in front of the Buddha's representative of Buddha's body, speech, and mind.
간제 잠로 셈제 아마 구성 두 텐도야 빵보샤네 아니 대인되는 게 예받았어 아니 바샤가 이세하는 거잖아요.
So you're doing this in the presence of the representative of Buddha's body, speech, and mind, in the presence of there. So putting them as a witness, and then in their presence, you are taking refuge, you are generating bodhicitta, and you are doing the confessions.
와 대야 수직이 나라 다 민데 시집에서 소소 미 가리나 되게 약점으로서 아니 수수 미드 숨지 아니 나랑기 잠로 셈제 빵보샤네 똥샤가 라스름지 송하게 쳔바 쳔내야 니바다 샤가 이세 오두슬할 때 내가 지금 차대요래.
So who does it? Who takes refuge and who generates bodhicitta is I. And I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in Dharma. So I so and so call so and so, right? Throughout all times, take refuge in the Guru, take refuge in the Buddha, and so forth. So you say I, so not someone else, but I take refuge and generate bodhicitta in the presence of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind.
해야 아니 라님 고와당에 속에 둥알라 인지시 짜지 텔레쪽에 니바 꽁초설로서 이치기 대화 이치 어떤지 소소질라 든지 고그랬다.
And that one also should be done on the basis of having strong devotion or faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, that that they have the oneself, being afraid of the sufferings of the cyclic existence, and especially the 3 lower realms, and then believing that the 3 jewels and the Guru has the power to protect us. So with that kind of belief and devotion, and you take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
야 덴데시에서 양 셈셈터 당하드 그든 고와당에 속은 지 누가 짜서 배 가디는 지장 암라자지 대대고 그래서 텐데 말해.
And then at that time, we might think that do have to be always terrified, be always always terrified or afraid of the sufferings, of the 3 lower realms and the cycles all the time. No, you don't have to be like that.
근데 저도 참말 인슈래 왜?
Do you all have insurance? Medical insurance?
단다 지나서 망치에시다 수번 탐보 야보요 그랬어.
So most of you are now healthy, right?
얘나 나라서 수수그 리 나와다 차베 둥알라 인지시 짜네 아니 인슈레다 아니 소소가 멤버레 아니 독선이 샤요래 토잡는 백 샤요래.
but we are afraid, of our diseases, right? So the diseases that we may encounter. So with that, fear in our mind, then we buy the insurance, right? The medical insurance, and we have an appointed PCP to make sure, right? Like that.
Samsung ngado lo ya ane peche chiyo matangwachi insurance ngute te lo chu kabla ya menga chingdo ne bil chingbo iba insurance ya de karo chegi mese ya bil tangdo Samsung.
So we, for like maybe 10 years, you didn't have to go to see a doctor, or you didn't have to get any kind of medical treatments, but you keep paying. You keep paying for all these 10 years, and then maybe after 10 years, you one time go to see a doctor, for something major. Then the insurance say, "Oh no, we don't cover this, we don't cover that," and then you end up paying so much bill, so big bills.
제장의 코테 코 짬로데 코 따다 이러면 물어라면도 그 로그도 왔고.
So that kind of refuge, is not infallible, right? It's a fallible.
제장 아주 산지 추근에 세대 수중은에기 제당 만원나 달 해보면 바레스 모두도 빼 내가 지금 뭐요.
So whereas the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are infallible, object of refuge, if we act properly from our own side.
그리고 아니 산지 추근에 끌라 두제치 뭐 예림에 나와 펜 다마다 된 대바서지 was.
So like the qualities of the Buddha, is that who Buddha benefits in everybody without any partiality or bias, like helping and has a compassion towards all beings, whether they are close to him or they are far from him, and and then also he benefits in everybody, whether they have benefited him or not. Even if they have harmed him, he still benefits them.
들어가도 니마다 지만 니마다 와서 니마기야 나 사전 내가 샤기면서 요 말아왔어. 그 가와 있는 샤기로 니마.
It's like the sun, shining everywhere. So the sun doesn't have the bias, so saying that I'm going to shine over this place, I'm not going to shine over that place. Wherever there is nothing, wherever there's nothing blocking it, the sun will shine over that.
제가 안에 소속이 니마다 까네 니마 날 가금도 삼나고 내서 가라와.
So it's like if you are sitting in a place where it's where the sunlight is blocked, and then you say, "Oh, the sun is not being fair with me; it's not shining over me."
오케이, 다 두지는 간지 소속이라 땀로 tempo 지체네 다 대뇌라야. 다 안에 동사가 라서주 송아 수준들라 가서 찰링 가서 막 파리 마스. 담보
on the basis of taking refuge, in the three jewels, from the depth of one's heart, with this strong fear, and belief. And on that basis, take refuge. And on the basis of taking refuge, then you visualize, these 35 Buddhas very clear and vivid as possible.
아니 산지 좀 된데다 남중 가서 간지 다네 고 산지 좀내 군적이 와 대나지 내가 그 저기 기주자명들이 끌어 많이 봐지 산지 좀 된데 궁문에 이게 쇼요 삼고로 와.
And then, so in the center is the Buddha Shakyamuni, right? Just like you see the Buddha on the altar at the center, just like that, but not like made of a bronze or material like the matter, but like a real person whose body is made of light. So it's like, but like a real person, just like you see a real person.
다 드네 아니 딘들라 아니 산지 대샤바 아니 죽치 디오들라 아니 딘샤바지 막 방아들이 와 내가도 딱 디오 고디오라고 쳐대 봐.
And then below him, are the rows of the 6 Buddhas, right? And then below that, it's the 7, and then 7 and 7 like that. So the 5 rows like that, right? Or 6 rows, including Buddha Shakyamuni. Like that, so there was like 35 Buddhas, very clearly visualized like that.
아, 대소소 이 제토바에나 아니 산지레가 아니 근데 구수간지 임바 신감가와 슈요와 어떤 소서면서 다 대매반나 상마 산지 좀 되는 나시라고 지 삼다시 만들어 개요 말에.
So if it is possible, of course, it would be good to remember the different colors and mudras, and the pure land they're residing in, and so forth. All these details. If you can remember that, if not, then you can just think that they're all like Buddha, just like Buddha Shakyamuni. All like all of them, just like Buddha Shakyamuni.
어다 쇼나 아니 드네 다 칸이 충격이 다 드네 잡히고 그래서.
And then, if possible, while reciting the name of each Buddha, when you say to the Tathagata, to the Tathagata moonlight, I make prostration like that. So you can just say then you do make a prostration, physical prostration, to each Buddha as you recite their names.
다 드네 안에 다 야랑 깔레카도 강바 나가도 비모 나무도 같이 차이는 다고 다 드네 다 기식 다 기접다 데베 가지 쪼지고네야 드네레레 괜찮투 아니 찬투비 무바치네 제고래.
And if you are physically impaired, and can't do the prostration, like you have a knee problem, back problem, or some other problems that prevents you from being able to physically do the prostration, then you can just fold your hands together in a respectful way, and then imagine making prostrations.
드네게 아니 산지 담보네 아니 다 숨주 송아바 아니 제 레레네 마문에 찬타바 니뭐 끊으시면 다 없어야 돼.
And so you recite the name of each 35 Buddhas, and imagine making prostration. So that will be the power of antidote.
뭐든 두 증인은 마 집시바진 넣으셔야겠다.
Yeah, so Geshe is going to recite the names.
또 맞는 데에 저와다 저마야다 보다 산지 빼져와 시작도 발라 샤들어 대셔봐도 연이 말하던 저 발라 샤들어 대셔봐라 저 고연들어 샤들어 대셔와 농기 자발라 샤들어 대셔와 파들라 샤들어 대셔와 빠질라 샤들어 대셔봐라 제발라 대셔봐라 제 다고라 샤들어 대셔와 도와 되어라 샤들어 대셔봐라 제 다발라 샤들어 대셔와 도매 발라 샤들어 대셔와 빼질라 샤들어 대셔와 참발라 샤들어 대셔와 참을 대셔와 출라라 샤들어 대셔와 출리라라 참살로 이 집시바 내 사이다.
이번에 진짜로 하던.
바제 대리 종합 받는 거. 대자 줄이라 하세요.
So we went through that. The Tathagata, the water god, I prostrate.
그래.
Did we do that?
We didn't do that one yet. That's the one we would start on today.
So
다
드린 것 중에서.
다 드린 것도 발음 선바 된다. 발음 산지 좀 전에 친구 때라 가더라 뒤고더라 아니 죽쳐와 직 뒤오더라 눈치와 직 놀사와 다 눈이 주진로 살아와 다 들이 발음 선바된 것은 거다.
So now we're on the third row, right? Third row. The first one, Buddha Shakyamuni. Then of course below Buddha Shakyamuni, there's the first row of the 6 Buddhas, and then there's the next in a row of 7 Buddhas, and now we're in the third row, of the 7 Buddhas. Okay.
오케이. 다 대제샤와 줄레라 찬타로 세대 다 아니 쫑아바들이 담보도 차대요래. 아니 꿈도 깔보지. 아니 샤니 냠자차지 봤던 이 삼당 거래스. 알레레 대제 줄레라 샤도 주된데.
요즘 출라라 상하라래.
주배자 가다 가는 게 당겨 따게.
네네.
어디때 어디지? 줄라 깔보세요. 너데레시.
찬이가 냠샤서 들어.
샤니가 냠자 어디지?
오케이. This is 이거 내가 참. Okay, so that the to the Tathagata also to the Tathagata deity of the water god, I prostrate, right? Yeah. So that's it's a white color body, and the both hands are in a meditative posture.
라오니다 칠라깔보다 안에 줄이라서 니다 가.
네, 아무도 줄라리라.
담보됐다. 어제.
네, 다.
어제. 다 안에 깔보지. 안에 코로나 쇼사기 신금다 가르나 효쇼 점함이 신금사 돼 말. 공쇼사대.
And then so he's in the southern in the southern direction in the Pure Land, called the Standless.
Yes, Margaret.
Pure Land.
Geshe, last week we stopped at the 14.
Yeah.
Tathagata bestow with purity. So the next 15, the next first one of the third row should be water god, right? Not deity of water god.
that
Chula.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Sorry, yes, that's right.
Just want to make sure.
Chalakago, Chulila.
Chula.
Tejawa Tambala, the other.
Oh, really?
Tambi Shala Chandala, Tejawa Chulala Chandala.
Bodhisattva. Yes, that's a Tutatagata water god. I prostrate. Yes.
Mm.
That one is like that's the white color body with the two hands in the meditative posture.
And Shinkam there, Rojo Tamami Shinkam.
And living in the Pure Land, in the south, is called stainless Pure Land. And so what kind of negative action gets purified by making prostration to the Tathagata water god? Purify the negativities of killing arhats. So of course, I mean, we don't know who we torture, who we kill, and so forth, right? So it could be in arhat, but anyway, so even like abusing or criticizing Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, so those kind of negative action can be purified by reciting this Buddha's name.
What does Suzu Semlaya? Tangachi give Tambatella, Mandiwatri, Johnson, Sam Semla Tenayana, and in there, the Yeshabachula, the Yeshabachula, Mambo Manasa on the Sako Yuri.
And so if you have, if you feel like you have, criticized or said a bad word to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then you can keep on reciting this Tathagata's name, the Tathagata water god, Tathagata water god I prostrate, Tathagata water god I prostrate, like that. You can recite as many time as possible.
Jennifer.
I was curious, the Tathagata bestowed with courage, I had written down that also purified negativities from killing an arhat. Did I
the 대신샵
Tambashada Teshaba Tashiba, Teshabala Tashibi the Padre, and somebody that Dutchamba Sebas.
성버 세보사는 말해 그래 성버 세보 말해
Somebody Marsen, Sambations of Martha.
마스라 차니가 진짜
And Nibade and Teshabang, I think you touch about that Teshabala Doshiwaina.
So that one I think we mentioned about shedding blood from Buddha's body.
And the tape and
the negativities, of shedding blood from Buddha's body.
I thought that was bestowed with purity.
성배전 말해야 되라.
Sambation. And the Teshabe Nesimji touch about that.
Isn't
La.
Bestow with courage or bestow with purity?
What I had noticed, bestowed with courage was killing an arhat, and bestowed with purity was shedding blood from Buddha.
Yes, so the bestow with purity is shedding blood from Buddha, and before that, bestow with courage, right? 대신 샥바 뺄진가 차도로 쓰더라고요. 뺄진 세보지.
The moment that Deja Deja Dutch must be the Yonsi, Alella, Tanga Coso, Tedo Yonshori, called Nebachiba Tasha, Jimmy Chick the mother of Gomer.
Yes. That also purifies the negativities of killing arhat. Yes.
Or the Terry in a 10, they all double than Mambo Youngers.
Yeah. So that can be many Buddhas, who are purifying the same kind of negativities.
Yeah. Or the two son Mataya, Chichena, Shamba the Young Marta, Mardaya.
It's like only one Buddha has the power to purify that negativity. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Many Buddhas have but specialized, like specialized in that. It doesn't mean the other Buddhas don't have that power.
So if we killed an arhat, we could prostrate to either.
Yeah, 간디로 지나지거다.
거리지는 돼.
간디로 쳐서 배는다. 나중에 쓰면 되고 사겨.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so whichever Tathagata you make prostration will purify the negativity action of killing arhats. Yes.
어찌지. 야, 다 내다나 시도는 내가 치시나. 한 삼점 내가 남라를 고 강가 집발해 말해. 내가 강가 집어 말해. 그러면도.
Yeah, and then also there's many different commentaries, so they're not all same.
제가 지금 봐도 오다데 셴바 이쪽만 라이 먹고 내가 장에 가가 연구래.
So if it is purified, if this purifies that, then it's not like, it's not that the other one should not purify that. It's not like that.
그 다데 코 도바드 계산마. 다데 강 이마데 다이 삼네 코 찬사래.
So yeah, you can just believe that this is how it is and then make both.
소리다다 까왔던 그때가 저기다 왔다는 다 이체랑 지내 제래.
So how does it get purified like that? We don't know. There's no proof, no logical proof, logical reason to prove that yes, by making prostration to this Buddha, this negative action can be purified. But it is said like that, so we just take it that way and then go on, move.
그다 이체 연한군에 때에 다 그래. 이체 맨날 가르면 상제념도 내려나 거기다 다 이렇게 말.
Yeah, so of course, it's all depends on the belief. If you believe, then it will get purified. If you don't believe, then even if you are making prostration to the actual Buddha in front of you, you will not purify because you don't believe that's the Buddha.
그래서 이체 연한 수수 샘라 믹스가 수수 샘부터는 상로 슈치 못한 거 되게 슉 되게 적어 봐. 수수 샘당 근데 파조 니바니가 냠도 연구래.
So the belief is very important. If you believe, then you will do it, right? If you don't believe, then you will not get, you will not do it. If you believe that, yeah, it's going to happen, so I must do it, like it will make you to do it. If you don't believe, then of course, you will not do it. So therefore, believing is very important.
오케이. 다데 정어가 다데 아니 발음 니빠 선배가 담보대 마스도 좀 방요당한.
So that's the first one of the third row, right?
오케이. 다데 발음 니백이 선배가 니바데 가르나 아니 대제셔봐 줄을라 상달로 다 주르바들레스.
And now the second one of the third row, is the Tathagata, the deity of the water god.
대양 금도 깔보지 아니 샤니 출첵 자자레스.
Okay, and so this one is also a white color body with the both hands in the mudra of teaching Dharma.
아니 아니 공 슈사데 가와나 납쇼 사위 신감 사데 슈거레스. 납쇼 사위 그래 론업 사위 신감.
And then he is residing in the southwest direction of this world in a pure land called a bright pure land.
오케이. 다 안에 공라 샹사바 니바 가드나 아니 샹접 셈발라 데비 샹접 셈발라 양 슈바이나 디기디 바다는 그래서.
And then what kind of negative action gets purified by making prostration to the Tathagata, the deity of the water god, is the negative actions created by hitting or beating bodhisattvas.
제대다 나도 샹접 셈발까지 내도 하고지도 제야마다이나다. 깨웠다 막 가나 연무시비 내들 신다 사바샤고 소모여간다 다나 제고요 말이.
And so, of course, we don't know, who we are beating, is a bodhisattva or not, but could be a bodhisattva, right? We don't know. Since we don't know, it could be a bodhisattva, and not only in this life, but in many previous lives, we have beaten so many people, so many beings. So that other being is bodhisattva or not, we don't know. Could be a bodhisattva. So it might be that being has been a bodhisattva, and you beat it that person, and thereby create the negative karma. So those negative karma will get purified by making prostration to this Tathagata, deity of the water god.
아디 슈젤라 아니 주든 바데라 주든 대제샤와 빼살라 샹달로 오스와.
주두바데다.
주두바데 줄레라 임바.
그래.
단단한 돌라데 주두바데다.
정아 주두바데라. So now the 17th one, right? And the third one in the third row.
아니 대제샤와 빼살라 샹달로 오스.
So that's to the Tathagata, glorious goodness. I posted.
아니 꿈도 돼 설보지.
And he has a white, so the yellow color body.
아니 다 바지니 자자데 다 춘책이 자자야.
And so he's in the yundir.
야만 이온데 아니 춘책지. 아니 얘데 잡정이 자자. 어디는
And then so his right in the left hand, is in the mudra of expounding the Dharma, like this, left hand, and then the right hand is stretched, in granting protection.
아니 코로나 휴사기 신금된 놈쇼 대화지 신금세 된 말.
And then he is residing in the west direction of this world, in Sukhabati, the pure and joyous pure land.
다 공라야 아니 샤드는 니바카나 아니 효변 세비디 바다 그랬어.
And by making prostration to this Buddha, you purified the negativities of killing, the teachers.
제자 다 소주 개개생이 생용들의 여러 가지.
So those who have killed their own teachers, like Dharma teachers.
제자 다 인도도 시당 이집지 상하지 그거 말아 간지 개개 가리나 개개 세대 뺐다치 못히기래.
And so any kind of teacher, right? So the teachers are very sacred, very precious, right? Very holy, and so negative karma killing from the teacher is very heavy, and so that kind of negative karma can be purified by making prostration to this Buddha.
다 간주 대개마다 간지 수수 그 준대 요사가 아니 개개인데 딱 제포모선 된데라 수수는 마키와 정하나 다 되게 니바다고 그러는데.
So even if you haven't done that extreme, the act of killing one's own teacher, but you might have, created negative karma by disrespecting, criticizing, hitting or beating like that. So that kind of negative karma also can be purified by making prostration to this Buddha.
제가 담보 수수가 개개 때문에 질라 다 가르면 가르잖아. 간지 수수문이 대화라요 말했어. 그다 그런 로당 틈도 그래. 제주자 개요 말했고.
So of course, it is important to analyze about the teacher before you take someone as your teacher. Once you have taken someone as your teacher, then there's no analysis, no analysis to do. You just have to believe or respect the guru and follow him or her in whatever way he or she teaches us to do.
다 대개개들 보면 담스들에 담스기로 고요.
And so so that's the commitment of the teacher disciple. And
제다다 수수문이 수수 그 수수문이 지금 미시 몸배원 것이 마키와들이 좋아했나? 아마 미시배가 칼아주지 수수지 다 그래서 들이 좋아나? 아니 대삼나 대신배는 아니 다 대셔법에 상하상들로 대셔법에 상하상도 전에 야보들.
So if you have disrespected or criticized one's guru out of ignorance, or by being influenced by somebody else, then that kind of negative karma, you think about those negative karma and recite this Buddha's name. the Tathagata glorious goodness, I posted to Tathagata glorious goodness, I posted. So recite as many times as possible, just like you recite Om Mani Padme.
어디 다들 쉬어대지. 방아와대 아니 대셔와 좁제바대 아니 대셔와 tren데 벨사들에.
And then that's the fourth one, the fifth one, right? In the third row, it's called the Tathagata Glorious Sandalwood. I posted.
아니 꿈도대 아니 설보인 사람와.
Yeah.
아니 설보 사는 남자다로.
And so he has a yellow colored body, and with his and his hand mudra in pressing the ground.
내 손다다 차선 반에 산지 좀 되는 지바지잖아 배살.
And this one is just like Buddha Shakyamuni, his right hand resting on his right knee, and touching the ground with his fingertips.
제자 안데 세보서만 야 세보 동에 맞을 때 말이야. 세보군데 셀건 도나. 세세 세보는 게 세보 약속대로 와.
So the yellow color body is not just like regular, ugly yellow color, but really beautiful, bright yellow color like the gold.
다 공 슈사데 가와셔다 안에 납쇼 저상기 신사데 쇼레스 납다 샹가 바로 납샤 저상기
In the west north, direction of this world.
다 공올라 안에 차다와 니바 카드나 안에 겐델란 보바 까비드 바다 그래스
뭐가 가오사?
겐델란 보바 까와
맞았어요.
맞지
And it says that what karma get purified by reciting this Tathagata's name, is the negative karma of preventing the offerings to the sangha by like stopping this offering to the sanghas. Like if somebody is making offering, and they say no, those people doesn't deserve offerings. You should not make offerings like that. And that kind of saying or preventing them from making offerings to the sangha.
제가 도 총sol라도 메시메 다데 고 겐데 냠도 내가 제대로 용어인가요?
So this kind of negative karmas can be created by people who are working with the sanghas usually.
와다 내 가나서 양치 메치기야 메셴발라야 아니 지 셴바당하고 텐데 소소 까샤바나 다 되니 봐요 그러와.
And so like also that can be like other people, somebody is practicing generosity and like charity, and then if you say, oh no, you shouldn't give this to these people like that, this community and so forth, and though that can negative karma or preventing the charity practice can be also purified by reciting the name of this Buddha.
와 다데서 오셔서 다디 슈가데 아니 대주샤와 쫄그바데레.
And then after that is the 19th one, right? 19th Tathagata.
아 렘바 가서서 오다. 여기 발음 가서로다.
너 손바들아.
손베가 발음로다. 손베는
손바네 촉단 된게 주실제 주숨제. 주시 정만 주뚝. 시바 마와 두고들시다.
어디 두고서 봐.
두고 말해.
무슨 니시다지로 니시다지반도 거다.
네.
어디시 나데.
다지라. 넌 니슈바데서다.
어디 니시바데. 다든 발음 되네래. 단다다 쭈그바데다.
쭈그바데.
아 쭈그바데.
나 나바데서.
뭐야, 다 바람 나바데. 다 뒤에 셀라 뒤에 샤바 뒤에 타일라 샤발로 오세들이.
And so this one is the to Tathagata infinite splendor. The infinite splendor. This one is what? It's the fifth one, right? In the third row.
아, 뒤에 샤바 뒤에 타이. 아니 공금도 엄마를 보지.
And he has a red color body.
아니 샤 예데 투카다. 아니 투카.
Then the right hand is at the heart in the mudra of expounding the Dharma. And the left in the meditative posture.
어디지? 다 공 슈사데 가와시네. 아니 납쇼 지제단데 비신감사데 슈.
And then he is residing in the
슈사데. 샹쇼 지제단데 비신감.
So he's residing in the northern direction, the pure land called a glorious pure land in the northern direction.
아니 다 공라야 차드는 예바토 가르다나 아니 주대시비디 바다 그래서.
And what kind of negative karma gets purified by making prostration to this Buddha, of the infinite splendor? Splendor, is all the negative karma created by destroying the stupas, destroying the stupas.
제가 당에 망갑 중학교로 다배 사시고 그랬다 재미가 저때 뭐 시월에 다 디가도 온거 재미들이 깨되는 뭐 식사다. 재미 마음이들이 깨되나.
So so in Tibet, during the war, when Chinese invaded Tibet in 1959, many monasteries and stupas were destroyed.
나한테 당아 그냥 알아서지지 아니 사제가 고소 투텔라 마키바들이 좋아요바나 어디 되니 바다 그래.
And so, so many the armies, the military person in China who followed that at that time, followed the war at that time, they were ordered to destroy all these all these holy, places. And so and we might have been one of those armies there at that time. And so if we've been there, then we have created this negative karma of destroying the stupas. So anyway, so also any other, those are like extreme one, like even like simple negative karma of disrespecting the holy objects. Sometimes we're walking by the stupa, and in some way, if we physically disrespected the stupa at the center, also that kind of negative karma can be also purified.
다 된대가 수정을 알nga 녀바들 사자마 삼이되나 대셔바드 이제 다 일어상들로 대셔바드 이제 다 일어상도 다 많이 교환이 이쪽으로 그래.
So then, so if you think that you have created this kind of negative karma of disrespecting the holy objects, then you can recite this the name of this Tathagata, infinite splendor to the Tathagata's infinite splendor, I prostrate to the Tathagata's infinite splendor, I prostrate. Like that, you can recite just like we recite Om Mani Padme Hum.
뭐지? 다 대슈고대 다 대셔샤바 뉴시 담바드 차도도 대셔샤바 옷 발라 상달로스.
So now that's the next one is the 20th Buddha, right? The sixth, in the third row. This is called the.
꿈동 몸보지.
So to the Tathagata glorious light, I prostrate.
아니 샹좀 초고 샤자세 다 대간에 하고 매.
So, 시즈 타임으로 되면 나봐. 근데 시즈 타임을 되는 말아.
대셔샤바 옷 발라 상달.
대저 어버라서 어를. 뭐 청주 쪽이 안에 so he says the color blue color body and in the mudra of enlightenment. I don't know what mudra is that exactly.
지지나 바네 아니 양 배자 가지는 아니 주진이 샤자들 랍샤 주진.
저걸 꼬에.
중국 거 샤자 주진이 샤자되죠.
저는 젊은 차장하시라던데. 저걸 꼬야 되더래.
어디 배자 가지나들이.
So in some commentary, it says like turning the wheel of Dharma, just like the mudra of Lama Tsongkhapa.
아니 공 슈사데 가와네다 심나 아니 샹샤르 되여다 dem비 생각문세 되시고요.
And residing in a pure land called meaningful pure land in the northeast.
아니 다 아니 공을 샹사발라 니바가는 아니 세당을 끊는 하베겠다 니바가서 이바타마타로 그래서.
And by making prostration to this Buddha, the glorious light, all kinds of negative karma created, out of anger, or out of hatred, will be purified.
제장 간지 무슨 소소를 내면와 소소 마가와 인자 미질라 누가 전화 대야포 총소 삼나다 그 세당 끊는 디바를 차르고다.
So if you don't like somebody and then something bad happened to them, then you say, oh, that's so good, it happened to them like that, and out of anger to them, out of hatred, anger to them. If you think like that, then that's the negative karma created out of hate.
제가 당가도 되게 딴 예방만 못 사기다 소소 마가살라지 그 야포마나 같이 될다 다야 보셔서 그 릭선데 근데 고요선 마무요 그래.
Yeah, so that kind of negative karma we have created so much, right? Out of hatred, so many negative karma created out of hatred. So those kind of negative karma can be purified by making prostration to this glorious light Buddha.
어다 코테 영어로 코코란 예바서지 코미 드자선 가진 수수샘라 수수를 무수도 개체마다 수수샘라 마가와인자 미파쇼라 코 누가 영어를 간도 샘라 가지 가원으로 제 다도 제초시나 약보이 말에.
So if a bad person experiences bad things, then because we don't like that person, like a bad guy, if something bad happens, then oh yeah, that's good, that bad thing happened to him because he was so bad and he deserves to have those bad things happen to him like that. If you think like that, then that's again negative karma created by hatred, out of hatred. And so those negative karma can be purified by making prostration to this glorified Buddha.
다들 대간으로. 어디 다들 뉴스 담아 들어. 다 뉴스 따지 봐대. 아니 냥에 매비 발사야 돼. 대셔 봐. 냥에 매비 발라 차안들었어.
And so now the 21st, the Buddha, and the second one in the third row is the Tathagata sorrowless glory. Sorrowless glory. So to the Tathagata sorrowless glory, I prostrate.
아니 꿈도 돼네 말자이 말이.
He has a pink colored body.
아니 찬이 냠자지.
And then the two hands in the meditative posture.
아니 슈사데 아니 오쇼 드바 잡이 신금사데 식으로 당가서 올만 잠블리고 올.
And residing in the Pure Land called free of obscurations, in the below direction.
아니 다 대셔바 냥
above and below, in the below direction.
아니 대셔바 냥에 발라 차들어 시베 니바 가르드나 아니 내샤지 끝날라고 디바타는 그랬어.
And we get purified, all the negative karmas created out of attachment.
오케이. 다 내샤 끝날는데 땅가도 니바다 내샤 제단 등무도다 그되는 거는 냠도 늘어버려 버려.
So yeah, so attachment is very easy, right? Very common. We always create so much negative karma by out of attachment, right? Attachment for this, attachment for that. So all these things, negative karma, then created by attachment, will be purified by making prostration to this Buddha.
그나 수수고 따와 수수고 섬서 뭐나 수수고 켈레 대야 대라 차바되면 거 대라 직처럼 링무들라게나 아니 가지고 가든 부방부 잡사로.
And so like the attachment to one's one view, one's one opinion, one's one thought, or ideas. And when somebody doesn't agree with that, then we get angry with them and then we fight with them, right? Because of being attached to our view, opinion, ideas, and so forth.
오케이. 다 대기 다 방람 스마드래 와 방람 스마드 사이바.
So that's the last one, of the third row.
다 방람 시바된 곳으로다. 다 뉴스단이네.
And yeah, so that's the 22nd Buddha, is in the fourth row. The first one of the fourth row is the 22nd Buddha.
다 22nd 대제샤와 스미지 버사드 차대기 그랬어.
And then it goes to the Tathagata, son of non-craving, I prostrate.
아니 대꿈독 설보에서래.
And so he has a yellow-colored body.
아니 차대 아니 주택 가래 춘책이 차대더라.
And he has the mudra of expounding the Dharma.
아니 슈사대 아니 띵쇼 스바차비 신금사대 슈사래.
And he's residing, in the Pure Land, free of craving, free of craving on the above direction.
아니 다 니까 니바데 까와 아니 트리드 받다 그랬어.
And it's by making prostration to this Buddha, the Tathagata, son of the non-craving, when purifies the negative karma created over 10,000 eons.
어쨌든 딱 까와 코너다 지나래. 배 무슨 링보 망보쇼 다까지 배 무슨 망보래와 블렌드.
All this the eon, like eon itself is very long time, right? It's like you can't count. It's uncountable time, and that kind of uncountable time, like 10,000 of that kind of uncountable time, the eon. So created over time gets purified.
발음 시와기 당보대 마스코 쟁거들라 주의되다.
So this is the first, of the fourth row. Okay.
그봐. 어디지? 다 아니 뉴스짠이 짜선 바데 대샤와 메토발라 창살로 어서대.
And then the 23rd Buddha, is the to the Tathagata glorious flower, I prostrate.
어디 아니 꿈도 설보지.
So yellow color body.
아니 다 다시 쇼단데 아니 춘제가 찾아 있어요.
Already, 8장.
하나 예장 때문에 주저다 이런 주제잖아. 다 같이 다시 춘제가 찾아 있어서.
Yeah, so he's
춘제.
well, anyway, so he has the mudra of expounding the Dharma.
아니 쇼사의 신감대 샤쇼 메독 아니 이 신감사 되서.
So then residing in the says the Pure Land called the increasing increasing flower Pure Land in the eastern direction.
아니 니바데 까밤 범지도 봤다 그랬어.
And and purifies the negativities created over 100,000 eons.
됐지. 단 이거 콘도 쇼사다 샤쇼 직생도 변나 소소 변나 단단한소 민진 직den지 감대 산지 좀 된 게 신금 차는 것도 되게 했다. 남베 지나 뒤라버리다. 소소소소 신금라 뭐다 간도 내 나지 요래.
And so, like it says, in the east, in the Pure Land, in the east Pure Land, in the west, and so forth, right? So the Pure Land or the land, like this world, is the land of Buddha Shakyamuni, where Buddha Shakyamuni came and turned the wheel of Dharma and so forth. So like that, there are many other lands or world where each Buddha, have come and resided. So that kind of this is what it's talking about. That kind of land.
다 대시고다 대셔반 이제 접시바데 대시회기 숨바디 차대요.
So now the third one, of the fourth row, the Tathagata.
아니 대셔샤바 참배의 곳을 넘버를 원고만 첨발하래.
Yeah.
대셔샤바 참배의 곳을 넘버를 원고만 첨발하 창살로스.
And so he says, to the Tathagata, pure light rays clearly knowing by play, I prostrate.
아니 꿈독 serbo치.
And he has a yellow color body.
아니 다 차에 사는다. 아니 요 냠자지 산지 좀 된데 지바로 보시고서.
And so the right hand in the pressing the ground and the left hand in the meditative posture, just like Buddha Shakyamuni.
아니 슈사데 아니 샤르로 창바 상금사데 슈사리. 샬로 창배 상금.
And then residing in the world in the Brahman pure Brahman world in the east, shallow in the east south.
아니 공가 아니 예바데 까와 똥게 듣봤다 그래서.
And it gets purified, negative karma created over 1,000 eons.
대제도 대 상발하러 봐. 다 대제샤바 뺀매고들 넘버를 온것만 첨발라 쳐도 돼. 아니 이제 짱아버들이샤스.
And then the 25th one, is 그래. 빼면서 넘어 그래.
뒷빼매고도 군이 특이하다.
Is clearly knowing by play, I prostrate. Yeah.
다 공금도 말보지.
He has a red color body.
아니 샤 예바 사는다. 아니 요 냠자들이 있어. 군이 쇼다지
This one also, is just like Buddha Shakyamuni, the right hand pressed in the ground and the left in the meditative posture.
아니 슈사데 로쇼 뺀마된 비신 검사도 주고야.
Residing in the lotus land in the west.
아니 예바데 까와 던지도 봤다스.
And purifies negativities created over 7 eons.
오지. 어디 다들마다 무슨 건데 다 잠나고 저같게 요 말아 가지 되내려 오시라. 다 되네 니슈 잡된 바들이. 니슈 바네 안에 대셔와 노르팔라 샤다라 되더래.
And now this is the 27th. This is so 27 is to the Tathagata glorious wealth I prostrate.
아니 꿈도 된 몸보지.
He has blue color body.
아니 슈다데 춘제가 찾아야 돼.
And the mudra of expounding Dharma.
아니 코나 슈사데 로쇼 론드 노르비신 감사데 슈리.
And residing in the world or the land, the jewel land of
론드 노르비신 감.
the southwest direction.
아니 다 네바데 레드업 세트가 레지드바사지.
And then purifies the negative karma, the obscurations of karma. So the obscurations created by karma.
다 레드업 세트가 남집에나 레드업 네바슈 쳔보이거나 제 추제원 고스가 막 깔레까 있고 되죠. 추제원 고스가 깔레카 되죠. 옆되죠. 다때 미드 레드업 쳔보사래 여사지 것도 납거.
So there's a saying, that someone who find very sleepy or tired, the moment he sits down, to listen to the teaching. And
땡가도 바지 참아대요다. 땡가도 참아슈치 뭐요.
it says, that person has a very strong karmic obscuration, and of course we all have that, but some people have very strong.
그래서 담성도 니 맞고나 만사도 니 그러고 있구나.
So if you don't fall asleep in the night, you can just recite Om Mani Padme Hum, and then you'll fall asleep.
어제 다 듣는 다 듣는 잠잖아요. 다 차단로네 조정 고비로 시다. 나도 레레네야 지금 내시 레레잖아요. 마보쇼 차려도요. 그 된다면 어제 그렇고 도도도도로 싫어. 저도 셈나 안 되는 인사만 전환이 되고.
And so I think that's about it, because if you go too much, then it will be maybe hard for you to remember. And there are also many different commentaries, but also very confusing. Too much, to know about it all. So if you can just remember, what this Buddha, is, and which the land, which direction, in which land he's residing, and I think that's good enough.
그래서 단디 당연히 하시고 나시지. 다도 지금 삼점 삼지만 쳐봐도 다 가리나 선배 요래 다데 그 용초거래 삼초거래.
And then especially what negative karmas get purified, because that will inspire. Oh, I have to, this can.
그래서 니 바라는 것처럼 니 바라 대시 셴바지 주도면서 셴바지 시고 삼 소리 반. 가지 간수 파담나 드치다나 드니 사제나 파 드터럽 근데 드추슈서 된 가서 녀들이 됐을 때 돼서 근데 쇼갱아도 기후 니마셔 기후 가다 기후 가다 텔라 추슈죠. 텔라 녀들이 된 가서 미국 통화 추슈도 됐을 때
And so just knowing that, right? Knowing knowing what kind of negative karma gets purified by making prostration to that Buddha, then inspires you to do that, right? So just knowing that much is good enough. So usually, like we say, you can visualize Buddhas as many as the atom, and an atom of the dust, the atom of the dust or the earth. You see, so we call it the. So the atom of the sunlight, the atom of the sunlight. So the atom is so small, you don't normally see it, but when when there's a sunlight there, then you can see those, the atoms, right, flying in the sky, in the space. So that kind of atom, and it's called the sunlight atom.
근데 지기텔라 아니 상제 태양 아니 꼬라 상제 아니 세단 침바 슈데들이 슈요래 생각도 상쇼는 여와.
So I don't know the exact wording in the King of Prayers. You know that? Like on a single atom, there's a the equal number of the Buddhas as many atoms as there are. Is that right? You understand? Mm-hmm. So on a single atom, you visualize, as many Buddhas as there are, as many as the atoms in the world.
다 태양 아니 산지 쭉쭉 보면 막 뒤꼬라지네 산지를 신서 뭐 쉬어래서.
또 늦직 때는 뒤에 상관없어요.
아, 그 차단님 봐.
늦직 때가 뭐 되나 되는 늦직 때나.
아, 늦직이 봐. 태양 늦직 차단님 봐요, 그래서.
So like that, so on one atom, as many atoms as there are.
So 제가 더도 삼지 맞지 방아서 전에 뭐야 삼 맞춰로 그래도.
So those are like inconceivable, right, for us. It's like really, how can we imagine that? But it's all in the mind. If your mind can take that, then you can think in that way. Yes.
근데 내 춘주지가 뺀다. 샘깔 춘주지는 간주되니 강가되나 죽어도.
So just like the small, tiny thumb drive, you can fit all the information about the translated teachings and the translated commentaries of the Buddha's teaching, right?
다 빼셔야 단단 간주 뒤는 간주 폰이 가지나 폰데 내는 주의되는 나도 문유쇼 나지도 와. 나도 체를 나도 좋은로 말에 내 스킨 체로 말다 나도 내가 그거 쇼되요.
Like you can fit all the people like 20, 30 people that are in the group, right? They can all fit in the screen of the small phone, right? In the small screen of a phone. So the phone didn't become big, and we didn't become small, but we can still fit in that, So that's just like that.
다 나중에 가도 TV 나타에 가려면 또다 트트라 뭐지 풋볼 등도 되나 보도 지고 셔 뭐서 말에 미드도 총으로만 가도 강가 피는 통통이래. 제가 되니라고 삼다고다.
So like when you're watching a game, on the TV, and then when they show the people, not just the players, but the spectators, when you show them, you can see like thousands of people, in that small screen of the TV, like 32-inch TV, you can see all these thousands of people. So the thousands of people didn't become small, or the screen didn't become big, but you can all see that, like, just like that.
제가 너좀 삼성 안 돼도 간데 여러 삼지 삼지 못 버렸는데 대 초사로 봐가지.
But we never thought like that, right? So we never thinking that, oh yeah, you can just think. But you can fit all these people like that. So that's the aspect of the inconceivability.
제가 아니 진짜 멜라를 봐 아니 야라나라 무슨 말이야. 다저 번다다이나 아니 멜라 멜라를 봐 총을 치면 야라 체를 치면 번다다 냠도야 쇼스네. 어서 많이 말해.
And so it says that Milarepa enter into the into the horn, into the hole of the yak's horn. So there's a hole in the yak's horn, right? So he entered into that, and it says that the hole of the yak's horn didn't become big, and Milarepa didn't become small, but he was able to get into that.
제가 강다라 단도도 까지 간도 삼든 로이를 마셔버려 봤다. 근데 삼든 용 조사로 와.
So like that, I mean, these things, like, how can that be? Like, how can he fit into a yak's, the hole of the yak's horn, and without that becoming big, or like he becoming smaller and so forth. So, but if you really think it that way, then you can see that how inconceivable that is.
대단한 수도 단다 동샤 라스미 송을 수수 신금 가가도 와.
So like that, these each 35 Buddhas have different the lands, right, where they reside.
제가 단단 간두고 배에 남배에 주는 셔가지나 단 잠블린데 단다 산지 좀 된데 간지 문진지 된지 감세 단 내긴 지된데 다보데 산지 좀 된데 레세 송고요래.
And so this is like the like this world that we live in is the world of Buddha Shakyamuni.
오다 대나식은 대단 대답을 있다 가지 간수까지 월 바도나 야도는 말은 가지 간도 미마도 왔더니 신금 뭐 보여래. 근데 신금도 달라 산지 소소소 단단 담블리 강요와 나지 지는 도대요래. 대지 간도 나지 여기 왜 계셔 말해.
어디 다시 말아.
다시 다 맞아 당신도 해서 봐.
잠블리 소소는데 나가도 잠블리 다다딩가도 잠블리도 다시 말아.
내도 다시 말어 와이나 다 가지 다시 나도 강가 냠도 되는 요소로 봐.
가시 다시 가시 가도 다시.
어떻게 로 있어요.
Yeah, so it's a different world, So this is just like the world that we live in. There's a different world. There are many different world systems, and these Buddhas, each of Buddhas, they reside in this other world where they reside and teach Dharma, turn the wheel of Dharma, and so forth. So, some of them are just like an ordinary world like we live in, and some of them are like a pure lands.
Okay. Adani, stop
So,
talking. Otherwise,
Geshe?
we will come first. Yes.
Was it that Shakyamuni, did he have a vision? Is there a story about why there are 35 Buddhas? Like, did he have one vision where he saw all of the 35 Buddhas at one time?
So
다 상계 단다 상계 숨송아데 가르쳐를 했어. 가르쳐 생송과 숨송아. 내가 상계 샤지도 몰랐는데 가저 샤자들이 종아래 간들했어.
대는 지를 못 잘라 시시죠. 지를 못 잘라. 지난 가상에 샤바 안에 된대기 아니 인점지다 숨지송어 공부를 빼나 당기 가서 당봉한서 띵가 쉬자버려. 로지나고 아니 내들 산지 좀 되는 거까지 샹초삼바 숨지송아 수업식 권하지 수업식 되는 시지 아니 동샤도 마송 니바다 사야까지 샵대지 버렸어.
Well, actually, Lama Tsongkhapa and I had the vision of these 35 Buddhas. But the story about this 35 Buddha teaching, at the time of the Buddha, like Geshe mentioned before at the beginning, so Buddha called like the 35 disciples, and gave this teaching at that time. So that's the 35 disciples. But the 35 Buddha, Lama Tsongkhapa had the vision of these 35 Buddhas.
저는 삼성 가서 저도 옆에 데리가도 가서 문이 잡시도 와. 단 데리니 시tas으면 문이 시tas으면 가는지 정화했어. 때문에 가려면서 그 대다대 그 데리데네 가로 되는 용거로 된다고 그러.
Like today in the Zoom, we see 23 people. So then that was like this time at this time on this day there were 23 people who received teaching like that. Like that. During that time when Buddha Shakyamuni gave teachings on these 35 Buddhas, there were like 35 disciples who came to receive teachings.
34.
34. So 35 including Buddha himself.
Okay? 이제 그 36 가르치면 30 가르치면서 그때 진세시에도 그 대다 대라 대 여와서 안에 대 그때 차서 물어.
So just like there's no reason why not 24 people? Why only 23 people today? Why not 24, not 25? Now like there's no reason, right? Yeah, that's 23, so there's 23, just like that. At that time, there were like 34 disciples, who came to receive teaching from Buddha at that time.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Jennifer.
Thank you, Geshe. So is it just as powerful to recite the names in English as it is to recite it in Sanskrit or Tibetan? Because Sanskrit and Tibetan are sacred languages, so is it more powerful?
내도 시당도 소소 깨가나 대전은 야가기로 시당 당간도 배나 배외에는 좀 배셨는 몸들 야갈 깨도 때서 되게 전업체래. 내가 샬럼 줘봐다 제가 바차쳐 봐 연구해서 랍랍 그래서. 이나 가서 그렇게 산길에는 가서 특히 고거 말이다. 저도 인지 나오네 뜻 고거로 봐.
지다다 가서 지랍 체중다 때문에 디바 많이 다하게 되네 되게 그래서.
그래도 진짜 전업체도 때인데 요즘에 근데 백개도 전업 체계잖아. 그러나 백개 가나다는데 간주도 차상 열어. 단다 군디고 송도. 남바 산지에 지금 농가 손들이 주차상 이거 단다 남백에 깨 때문에 문도 송도 와. 제가
누가 간데 책을.
라.
누가
제가 바지 네밥 가래 바지 개와 되게 채워줬거든. 다땡가도 다
지금 넘버는 누가 책을 해.
바지 리바가 싸움당하다. 다 바지 네밥 채워 전업 채워줘라 싸움군데다.
Yeah, so it's difficult to say, but maybe there is more power in reciting in Tibetan or Sanskrit because they are the original languages. But again, if you don't understand the meaning, then you won't have that much of inspiration or faith, right? So, but if you know the meanings, this is what it's saying, then you get more interested in it. So that way, maybe there's more benefit. But in terms of the powers from its side, we can say that the Sanskrit language, because it's the original language, has more power. So in Tibetan text also sometimes we have the initial, of the the text in initial text, or in the Tibetan in the Sanskrit language, it said this and this, just that part, and the title of the text can be in Sanskrit. The reason for that, is to leave imprint in the language, because that's the language that will be spoken by all the Buddhas, of the all the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon, who will come and teach Dharma, will be in that language. So if we say that, we'll leave an imprint in that language, and of course, also to get the blessings, get our mind stream, to be blessed. And so for that reason, we can recite that. And so when we say that, it seems like Sanskrit, has more power. But then again, you don't understand the meaning. Then maybe you might not be inspired so much. So therefore, if you recite the name in the language that you understand, then maybe it's better also in that sense.
제가 지나서 나도 좀 가서 용달라 지나서 대리샤바스 총하게 미된 세대를 선도나 야보여.
가르쳐라.
인지가 야버다.
So now I think for your understanding, it would be good to recite in English. So it would be good to remember the names of the 35 Buddhas.
Okay, then so 샤차바야나 샤마스로나 고 내는 식으로 와.
So you can recite it all the time. Just by reciting it, you get you can purify negativities a lot. So therefore, just reciting it is also very good. Whether you are reciting it with prostration or without a prostration, it's very good to do.
Okay. Yes, one more, Jennifer.
Well, I don't want to. A question had come up in the discussion group about the difference of purification and accumulating merit. There's not separate practices that are only for purification and only for accumulating merit.
대용말. 그래서나 네바타나 되게 잡으러 손님 소사로 그래. 손님 사서나 잡으러 네바타로 그래.
때 지금 네바타길 하지 다는 냠내들이 샤여라.
그래서
그래서 맞아도 냠내 가르쳐보는 네바타로 오라.
야.
냠내 가르치는 소사로 오라. 아다 믹스기는 냠내 디제나 되는 네바 다 치기를 해야 돼. 믹스기 냠내 디제나 아니 사람 사
알레. 오다 대요래 빼나. 단단한도 빼나 동산으로 있나 믹스기야 니마 가다가서 담보 로지나 셔 봐. 그 네바지 쇼지 믹스기 네바데 다야 치듯이 하면 야코 네바데 다야라 야 동산다고도 그 믹스 차대요. 시나 사람님 뭔데 봐나 네바 다 그랬어. 이나야 사람님 뭐도 그 믹스기 된디기 네바지 쇼 대사오지 소모 말아 와.
So yeah, of course, any kind of practice, right? Any kind of practice you do can purify the negativities and as well as accumulate the merit. Yeah. So these are like the contrast, of each other. Like when you purify the negativities, you automatically you're automatically creating merit. When you're creating merit, and automatically in the behind, you are purifying the negative. So it's happening, all the time. Whichever you do, the other one is happening, and at the back, So any kind of practice is okay, to do to purify the negativities and to accumulate merit. But there are some specialized one, So like Bodhisattva, right? The 107 mantra is mainly for purifying the negativities. But that can also create a merit by doing that. And also the other practices. So like, in the case of the 35 Buddha practice, for confession, because at that time to purify the negatives, there were like summoned, these disciples to come and do this practice. So therefore that became like specialized in purifying the negativities, for the confession. And of course, by reciting Heart Sutra, you can purify negativities too, but it's not specialized for that practice. But you do, get purified negativities, by reciting Heart Sutra also.
야 배나 멜란도나 다 산지 주면 양 마치 다 내염나 된데 요거라 야야 멜레가 나바치네 마소샤바다 야 진 네바다 된데나 야 멜란도나 코미스 팽거와 셴가도 야 샵테 셴바지나 팽거와. And
then also like, because there was this kind of similar kind of a pandemic, at one time, and then Buddha appeared in the aspect of medicine Buddha, and gave his teachings and practices and to overcome the disease. And therefore, this practice of the medicine Buddha became specialized in curing the diseases. Otherwise, of course, other practice you can it doesn't mean that if you do other practice, the disease cannot be cured. It doesn't mean that. You can also cure the disease by doing other practices. But medicine Buddha practice is more specialized.
Okay. Okay, Margaret.
Thank you, Geshe. Actually, I have the question that think I'm just touch on it. So they're both Bodhisattva and this confession, 35 confession Buddhas, both are purification practices. So what are the difference? Like when do we know what we should practice, which one? Or is there a difference? When, like, what is the difference between them? I have two questions, so this is my first one.
어디 소소 바지 가게 돼 소소 딱 대야나 바지 되잖아 그래.
Yeah, so both are good. Whichever you like to do is okay.
야. 이제 내 차한테 갖고 다 랍시고.
It's not this one is better over the other one. It's not like that, you know. So they both are good. You know, so you can do whichever you want to do.
So in our discussion last week, I think the question came up and we wonder, like, is it like this is 35 confession Buddha is Sutrayana, right?
Yeah.
Vajrasattva
Yeah.
is tantric,
Yeah.
Tantrayana. Maybe, I mean, but so does it mean we need to have initiation first before we can do
No.
Vajrasattva, the bend?
대호 고에만 그 동사 그래. 익자 주모 대와라 그게 고 말에 뭐들 고 말에.
So no, you don't have to have initiation to recite the 100 mantras.
다 양주고 안있단다 그러. 도지 선바다 곰대단데 양 nenjote네 그랬더니 얄매잖아요. 그때 원로 덮고 그래.
So if you visualize the Vajrasattva on top of your head, and then imagine negative karmas getting purified by the nectars and light flowing down from there, you don't have to have initiation. But if you are doing the yoga of the self-generation, you know, where you generate yourself as the deity, you know, then of course for that you have to have initiation.
Okay, all right.
제가 봤는 예바 다 제중으로 오진 바지 동사 라스 주성한테 바지 다 제다래. 그때 그나 도제 선배 곰네는 다 라찌그러 와. 동사 라스 주성 라스 주성아 바지는 야 지진에 띠 네바 체면으로 다 땡가로 삼들다 거야. 그 쉬우다 쿠드게 도마도다.
So Geshe says this is his opinion, you know, that maybe by doing the practice, you know, of the 35 Buddha, you get more negative karma purified because you are visualizing 35 Buddhas. You know, whereas the Vajrasattva, you just visualize one Buddha. that's the opinion. So haven't seen or, you know, heard in any scriptures.
Okay. Yeah, second question, also from last week's teaching. I think last week you said this is also the 3 hip sutra.
Yeah.
And I just want to confirm my notes whether it's correct. Is it first hip is hip of prostration, second hip purification, and third is rejoicing. I don't know whether this is correct or not.
Yeah.
샤자와 주모라 안에 간제 동부 촉사 바세들이. 디나다 샤자와도 지금 다 저마다 강가도 촉사 바세 거거든. 아니 니바데 드바샹 와세들 거로. 시나다 지기네 지도 차로 그래.
네. Somebody?
대바지 아니 somebody 다 아니 겨왕 뭐와 지세 뭐와세.
Yes. So those are the 3. So first one is making prostration, like in the I prostrate to the Tathagata, I prostrate to the I prostrate, like, you know, prostration, and then comes the confession. You know, so all the negativities this time before, like all this, you know, all the negative karma. Then it talks about rejoicing and dedication. So rejoicing and dedication is the same, you know. So just like the Buddhas of the past, just like the Buddhas of the present, just like the Buddhas of the future, dedicated I too will dedicate it in that way, like that, you know. So that becomes 3, you know, like that. Rejoicing and dedication is the last one, and the first one is the prostration. The second one is the purification.
Thank you. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Then also you guys like some discussion to also try to make a little bit more clear. Not clear, you know. If I didn't talk pretty clear, then you have not much to clear. But try to make maybe more understand. Okay. Then they'll call repasha ta yomadan. So tato ichera chinibas that mix them in the.
So there's no much, you know, the arguments, you know, to do, maybe just to check with each other. Oh, is it like that? Is it like that? Is it like that? You know, like that. Because there's no reason, you know, to prove, logical reason to prove this is how it is. This is how it's like that, you know. So it is said like that, so you just believe like that. But, you know, some of you might not know what he said, what that said. And then when you talk and discuss, then you get more informations, more clarifications. So therefore, it's good to do the discussion.
아니 단 뒤에 가서 관심 수수 삼라야. 이번 대단테 다가요. 팽여들한테요. 사람들한테 땅고 다대 땅도 노도고 그래.
And so some of you might have heard, this is the world that he's residing in. Or someone said, oh, this is the color of the body he has, like that, or the mudra. And then some of you might have heard like, oh, this is the negative karma that gets purified by this and this. So you can discuss, and then you get all these informations together.
뭐 제가 배샤 코로나도 있다나 통보 섬사대 촉사바사에 지그라샤 드와샤와세 니바지. 근데 게사 모아 사이드 숨바도 오샤도.
Yeah, so there's the three heap that you asked earlier. The first one is the prostration, accumulation of merit. And then second one is the purification of negativities. And third one is the dedication of virtues. So it is in the commentary of the 35 Buddha downfall confession. So there may be different commentaries, which may explain in different ways.
Okay.
So there are so many different kind of commentaries, and not all of them are exactly the same. So this commentary that I'm following, is the the commentary, that came from according to Lama Tsongkhapa's vision. So that was explained just as Lama Tsongkhapa had the vision of these 35 Buddhas.
Okay. Okay. How you guys also a little bit discussion and wonderful. Then not just discussion today, then leave that. You have to do a little bit of practice, okay? But don't be too overtime, okay? I always say, don't stop. Don't do too much, don't stop. Don't say goodbye. Don't say over, okay? Don't say, oh, Dharma doesn't work. Just slowly, non-stop. Like, total. This is important, okay? Especially now, we have no time. We have the family, you're all householders. Therefore, you cannot 24 hours, maybe 5 hours, do that. If you're just yourself, then you can do anything. But you are the householder, then you have to do all together. Therefore, important to non-stop, but don't do too much. Otherwise, you just give up. Then one day say, I like to donation this for centers. Then what do you had? I bought these books long times. Then you just, then you finish. Then maybe not a couple years. Oh, I like to come back to Buddhism. This practice is not just like play like that. The practice is not like, you go to the college, school, you say, okay, I go to school, maybe 2 years, then I'll stop, then again. It's not like that. You need to continue, okay? Okay.
Saji perki jukshing me tok tram re rab ling jini de gen pa di sange jing du make ta wagi do kon nam juk jing la che pan shu je tsun la me kutse rab ten ching nam ka trin le chok chu ge pa dang lo sang ten pe dru me sa sung gi ro me mun so tak tu ne gyur chi gi dam guru rat namanda akam nir yatayami. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the snowland teaching and transmigratory beings who extensively clarifies the path of unified emptiness and compassion, to the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech me all your holy wishes be fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Marjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Through this virtue, may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may where unborn arise and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. me te we te chen chen re si me ken pe wang pao jang pil yang gang chen ke pe su gen song ka pa lo sang ra pe ja la su wa de. Thank you, Geshe. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dhamma.
everyone.
Thank you, Geshe.
Wonderful evening.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you,
Thank
Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Paul.
Geshe.
Thank